Naomi Carter had earned every stripe on her uniform. 19 years, 12,000 hours, a record so clean it should have been untouchable. But at airport check-in that morning, a woman in designer heels looked at her face, looked at her wings, and decided Naomi was a fraud. The accusation was loud. The humiliation was public. And when security arrived, they didn't ask questions. They assumed guilt. What happened next wasn't just about one pilot's dignity. It was about a system that hides prejudice behind policy, and a CEO who had to choose between comfort and truth. This story burns with the kind of justice you feel in your chest. Subscribe right now, and tell me where you're watching from. Naomi Carter arrived at the airport before dawn. Her uniform was crisp. Her hair was pinned back in regulation style. She carried her flight bag over one shoulder, and her mind already traced weather patterns across the Midwest. In the crew corridor, a younger employee glanced at her wings. Then he looked at her face. His expression shifted. "Service elevators that way," he said. He pointed down a side hall. Naomi felt tired. Not from the early hour, from the repetition. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was calm. She walked past him toward the main elevators. She had earned these hallways. She would use them. At the window overlooking the tarmac, she paused. Planes slept under floodlights. Their metal bodies waited for crews to bring them alive. Naomi pressed her hand against the glass. She had flown for 19 years. She had logged over 12,000 hours. Her record was clean. Her evaluations were excellent. Still, people saw her uniform and looked for the mistake. "Competence is prayer," her father used to say. Naomi believed it, or she tried to. She turned from the window. The terminal was waking up. Travelers moved through security. Gate agents powered on their computers. The rhythm of departure built around her. Naomi headed toward crew check-in. Her ID badge hung against her chest. Her shoulders were straight. She did not know the day would demand more than skill. She did not know that faith in competence would be tested by something older and meaner than weather. The overhead speakers crackled. A gate agent called for boarding. Naomi walked forward. Her breath was steady. Her hands were steady. But something in her chest tightened. Some instinct she had learned not to ignore. The morning felt wrong. At the crew counter, Naomi heard the usual friction. A male passenger leaned over the desk. He called the clerk "sweetheart" twice. The clerk smiled. She processed his complaint without asking for identification. Naomi stepped forward. She placed her crew ID on the counter. The clerk glanced at it. Then she looked up. "Can I see your passport too?" she asked. "My badge is sufficient," Naomi said. "Just being thorough." The clerk's voice was light. Naomi felt something shift in her expression. She handed over her passport. Ahead in the priority line, a white male pilot laughed with another clerk. They used first names. No one asked him for a second form of identification. Naomi collected her documents. She did not make a scene. She logged the moment in the quiet ledger she carried inside, the one made of 1,000 small cuts. The terminal screens flipped to red. Delayed appeared across multiple gates. The crowd's mood changed instantly. People checked their phones. Voices rose. Impatience turned into something sharper. Naomi moved toward the priority boarding lane. Her gate was at the far end of the concourse. She calculated the walk time. She checked her watch. Behind her, someone spoke too loudly. "Incompetent airline, absolutely incompetent." Naomi did not turn around. She knew that tone. She had heard it before. Entitlement hunting for a target. The priority line moved slowly. Too many passengers claimed status they did not have. The gate agent looked overwhelmed. Naomi's eyes found the departure board. Her flight was still listed. But the delay meant tight turnarounds. It meant frustrated passengers. It meant a day that required patience she was already spending. She stepped into the crew lane. That was when the stare began. Naomi felt it before she saw it. The weight of someone's doubt pressing against her back. Vanessa Harrow appeared beside the priority line. She wore designer luggage and expensive shoes. Her nails were manicured. Her phone was pressed to her ear. "I don't care what weather does," she said. Her voice carried. "I have a meeting." She ended the call. Her eyes scanned the terminal. Then they landed on Naomi. Naomi kept walking. She had learned not to respond to stares. Vanessa edged closer. Her gaze moved from Naomi's uniform to her face, then back to the uniform. "Excuse me," Vanessa said. Her voice was bright. "Do they just let anyone wear that now?" Naomi stopped. She turned slowly. "I'm on duty," Naomi said. "Oh." Vanessa smiled. The expression did not reach her eyes. "It's just surprising, you know?" "Surprising how?" Naomi asked. "Well," Vanessa tilted her head. "You don't exactly look the part." Naomi felt anger rise. She met it with discipline, her father's voice in her head. "Don't let them choose your reaction." "I'm a first officer with this airline," Naomi said. Her voice was even. "I've been flying for 19 years. "Right." Vanessa's smile turned colder. "It's just that anyone can buy a uniform online these days." Other passengers turned. Phones shifted in pockets. The crowd sensed drama. Naomi's chest tightened. Not from fear, from the exhaustion of being questioned simply for existing. "You can verify my credentials at the counter," Naomi said. "I think I will." Vanessa stepped toward the gate desk. Her heels clicked against the tile. "Excuse me, this woman is trying to use the crew line." The clerk looked up. She was young. Her name tag said Emily. "Ma'am, if she has crew, identification," Emily started. "Anyone can fake a badge," Vanessa said. She spoke louder now. "I've read about this. Scammers." Naomi felt the terminal tilt. She had flown through storms that scared grown men, but this moment made her hands shake. The crowd's attention had found her. Emily looked between Vanessa and Naomi. Her face flushed. "Let me just call security," Emily said. "To be safe." "I have my credentials," Naomi said. She kept her voice steady. "Right here." "It's procedure," Emily said. She did not meet Naomi's eyes. Vanessa crossed her arms. She looked satisfied. Derek Shaw arrived in less than 3 minutes. He wore a security contractor uniform. His expression was neutral. His eyes were not. "What's the issue?" Derek asked. Vanessa spoke first. "This woman is impersonating crew. She's trying to skip the line." Derek turned to Naomi. His gaze moved over her uniform slowly. "Can I see your ID?" he asked. Naomi handed him her crew badge. Then her airline identification card. Her hands were steady, but her chest felt tight. Derek examined both. He turned them over. He held them up to the light. "These look legitimate," he said, but his tone suggested otherwise. "Of course they do," Vanessa said. "That's the whole point of a good fake." "I'm not impersonating anyone," Naomi said. "You can call crew operations. They'll verify me immediately." Derek pulled out a radio, but he did not call yet. Instead, he typed something into a tablet. "System's running slow," he said. He frowned at the screen. "Step aside, ma'am." "Step aside?" Naomi asked. "Just while we verify. Standard procedure." Naomi looked at Emily. Emily looked away. "Am I being detained?" Naomi asked. "Just cooperating with verification," Derek said. His voice was firmer now. "This way, please." He gestured toward a side area. Stanchions marked off a space near the gate, close enough for the crowd to watch, too far for anyone to help. Naomi felt the familiar ache, the one that came from being treated as a question mark instead of a person. She followed Derek. Her shoulders were straight. Her face was calm. But inside, something was breaking. The humiliation had found its witnesses. Derek positioned Naomi near the stanchions. Passengers turned to stare. Some pretended not to watch. Others held phones openly. Vanessa remained at the counter. She spoke loudly enough to be heard. "You can buy anything online now," she said. "Uniforms, badges, the whole act." Naomi felt her throat tighten. She watched phones rise. She could almost hear the sound of a reputation breaking in real time. Derek scrolled through his tablet. He frowned. "System's not pulling up your badge number," he said. "The system lags during delays," Naomi said. "Call crew operations directly." Derek did not respond. He typed something else. Naomi's eyes found the gate clock. Her flight was boarding in 40 minutes. If this continued, she would miss pre-flight checks. "I need a supervisor," Naomi said. Her voice was quiet but clear. "And I'd like this handled privately." "Privately?" Vanessa laughed. "Why? Scared people will see the truth?" Other passengers murmured. Some looked uncomfortable. Others nodded. Derek called someone on his radio. The response was static and slow. Naomi felt anger rising again. She treated it the way she treated turbulence. She acknowledged it. She corrected for it. She kept herself steady. "How long will this take?" Naomi asked. "As long as it takes," Derek said. A woman in the crowd whispered to her husband. The husband whispered back. Naomi caught the word fake drifting toward her. She breathed slowly. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Her father's voice again. "They want you to break. Don't give them the satisfaction." "I'm requesting documentation of this stop," Naomi said, "and your supervisor's name." Derek's jaw tightened. "You'll get what you need when verification is complete." Vanessa stepped closer. Her perfume was expensive. Her smile was sharp. "Just admit it," Vanessa said. "This will go easier if you confess now." Naomi's breath caught. Not from fear. From the sheer weight of being forced to prove her own existence. Lila Moreno arrived wearing the strained politeness of someone trained to smooth problems away. She carried a tablet. Her smile did not reach her eyes. "I'm the gate supervisor," Lila said. "Let's just get you cleared and move forward." She spoke as if Naomi were the obstacle, as if cooperation meant accepting humiliation quietly. "I've provided identification," Naomi said. "Your security officer hasn't called crew operations." "We're working on it," Lila said. She glanced at Derek. "Right?" Derek nodded. But he still had not made the call. Lila turned back to Naomi. Her voice was gentle. Too gentle. "Just cooperate and this will be over quickly," Lila said. Naomi felt something in her ribs tighten. Not anger, not yet, but the warning that came before it. "Is this verification standard for all pilots?" Naomi asked. She looked directly at Lila. "Or just for the ones you don't expect?" Lila blinked. Her mouth opened, then closed. She did not answer. Naomi understood then. Silence could become policy. Avoidance could become discrimination. Vanessa spoke again. "She's making this racial, classic deflection." A few passengers nodded. Others shifted uncomfortably. Lila's voice was softer now. "Let's not escalate, please." "I haven't escalated anything," Naomi said. Her voice was calm. "I'm asking for equal treatment." Derek's radio crackled. A voice said something about checking employee databases. Naomi felt exhaustion settle over her. She had fought this fight 1,000 times, in 1,000 small ways. She was so tired of proving she belonged. "I want to speak to crew operations directly," Naomi said. "We'll handle it," Lila said. "I'm not asking." Naomi's voice was firm now. "I'm requesting standard protocol." Lila looked at Derek. Derek looked at his tablet. The silence stretched. It hung in the air between them. Naomi felt her pulse in her throat. She had learned to survive quiet prejudice with quiet excellence, but quiet was no longer enough. The day demanded something louder. Derek finally radioed crew operations. He was put on hold. Automated music played thinly through the speaker. Naomi stood with her arms at her sides. Her uniform felt heavier now, weighted with eyes and judgment. Vanessa checked her phone. She sighed dramatically. "This is taking forever," Vanessa said. "Just arrest her already." A man in the crowd called out, "Let the lady through. She's obviously crew." Another voice answered, "You can't be too careful these days." The terminal air felt electric. Naomi recognized the sensation. People choosing sides, drama feeding on itself. Near the window, an older woman watched. She was small. Her hair was white. Her eyes were steady. Their gazes met. The woman did not look away. Naomi felt something ease slightly. One witness, one person who saw her as human. Derek's radio finally connected. A voice came through, distracted, annoyed. "Crew operations, what do you need?" Derek explained the situation. The voice on the other end sighed. "Badge number?" Derek read it off. There was a long pause. "Give me a minute," the voice said. Naomi's chest tightened. She knew what was happening. Her career was being reduced to a database search. Her dignity was being negotiated by someone who did not know her name. Derek started typing on his tablet, filling out a form. "What are you documenting?" Naomi asked. "Incident report," Derek said. "Standard." "This isn't an incident," Naomi said. "This is harassment." "That's not my call," Derek said. Naomi felt the true threat then, not the moment, but the record it would leave. One checkbox, one note in a file, one permanent question mark next to her name. "I want to see what you're writing," Naomi said. "You'll get a copy if needed," Derek said. Vanessa smirked. "Too late to cover your tracks now?" Naomi took a breath. Her hands shook for the first time. Not from fear, from fury held too long. She would not let a lie become paperwork. Naomi looked at Lila. "Pull the last 5 random crew checks performed at this gate. Show me the names and faces." Lila's eyes widened. "That's not necessary." "It is," Naomi said. "If this is random, the data will show it." Derek stepped closer. "You don't get to demand access to security protocols." "I'm requesting transparency," Naomi said. Her voice was quiet, but it carried weight. "If the checks are truly random, you have nothing to hide." Lila glanced at Derek, then at her tablet. Her fingers hovered over the screen. "Just do it," Vanessa said. "Prove she's lying." The crowd leaned in. Phones were ready. Lila swallowed. Her hand shook slightly as she navigated the system. Naomi stood perfectly still. She had learned to fly through storms by trusting instruments over instinct. She trusted the data would tell the truth. The older woman near the window stood. Her knees made a small sound. She walked closer. "I've been watching," the woman said. Her voice trembled but held firm. "This isn't about policy." Naomi did not look away from Lila. She held the line of her own worth. Vanessa laughed. "Oh, great. Now the peanut gallery's involved." "My name is Ruth Ellison," the woman said, "and I've seen enough to know wrong when it's happening." Lila's cursor hovered over the search button, one click away from truth. Derek moved to stop her. "That data is restricted." "Not to supervisors," Lila said. Her voice was quiet. She clicked. The screen filled with entries. Dates, times, badge numbers, names. Naomi watched Lila's face change, watched the realization settle. The numbers were not random. Lila's breath caught. Her fingers stilled on the tablet. Vanessa stepped closer. Well? What does it say? Lila looked at Naomi. Her eyes were wide. It says, Lila's voice was barely audible. It says we need to talk. Lila pulled the records with shaking hands. The screen showed 5 random crew checks from the past 2 weeks. 3 had Spanish surnames. 2 had names that suggested Middle Eastern heritage. All 5 were women of color. 0 white male pilots had been stopped. Lila swallowed hard. The numbers made a liar out of the story she told herself to survive the job. Read them aloud, Naomi said. Lila's voice was small. Martinez, Chen, Okafor, Nassar, Carter. The silence stretched between them. Derek leaned over Lila's shoulder. His frown deepened. That's inconclusive, he said, but his voice had lost certainty. Inconclusive? Ruth asked. It's a pattern. Vanessa waved a dismissive hand. Coincidence? You're seeing what you want to see. But her eyes flickered. She sensed a fight she could not win with volume alone. Naomi felt something shift in her chest. Not victory, just the first crack in the wall. I want a copy of this data, Naomi said. That's internal, Derek said. It's evidence, Naomi said, of discrimination. Lila's fingers moved before Derek could stop her. She sent the file to her own email. The small act of courage left her breathless. Derek's jaw tightened. You're overstepping. No, Lila said. Her voice was stronger now. I'm doing my job. Vanessa stepped closer. Her perfume was suffocating. This is ridiculous, Vanessa said. You're all protecting a fraud because you're scared of being called racist. Naomi looked at Vanessa directly. I'm not a fraud. I'm a pilot you refuse to see. Vanessa's smile was cold. I see exactly what you are. Ruth moved to stand beside Naomi. The gesture was small. The meaning was enormous. Naomi felt tired, but she also felt less alone. Lila's discomfort became the opening Naomi needed. Pause the incident report, Naomi said to Derek, until verification is completed, properly. Derek hesitated. His authority was being questioned by a woman who refused to shrink. That threatened him more than any regulation. Derek crossed his arms. The report is standard procedure. So is calling crew operations, Naomi said. You still haven't done that. Derek's face reddened. I'm waiting for the system. The system you don't trust when it shows my badge is legitimate, Naomi said. Her voice was calm. But you'll trust it to label me suspicious. Lila looked between them. Her fear and the evidence on the screen fought inside her. Derek, Lila said, just wait. Please. It was her first quiet act of courage. Derek heard it as betrayal. You're letting her manipulate you, Derek said. Vanessa laughed sharply. Exactly. She's playing victim and you're all falling for it. She turned to the crowd. Her voice rose. This woman is a fraud, Vanessa said. And instead of protecting passengers, they're coddling her. Several people nodded. Others looked uncomfortable. Naomi felt the weight of her own restraint. She was holding herself upright for every young woman who might one day wear wings. For every person who had been doubted simply for existing. I'm not asking to be coddled, Naomi said. I'm asking to be treated fairly. Fair would be arresting you, Vanessa said, before you endanger an entire plane. More phones rose. The crowd was hungry for a villain. Naomi's chest tightened. She knew how these videos would look, how they would be edited, how her calm would be read as guilt. Ruth spoke again. This woman hasn't done anything wrong. How do you know? Someone called out. Because I've been watching, Ruth said. I've seen who's been polite and who's been cruel. Vanessa's expression hardened. Stay out of this. At the edge of the crowd, a man in a plain coat watched. His face was lined with discomfort. He looked like someone used to being heard. His eyes found Naomi's briefly. Then he looked at Derek and Vanessa with something close to recognition. He had seen this pattern before. Ethan Caldwell had just decided to step into the light, orchestrated character introduction while escalating narrative tension. Ethan Caldwell is introduced here. He doesn't announce himself yet, just observes. Need to show his discomfort and realization that this is wrong. Keep building tension. Ethan did not announce himself. He listened. For him, listening was already discomfort. He ran an airline. He made decisions about thousands of people every day. But he rarely saw the human cost of procedure. Now he was seeing it. Naomi caught his gaze. She did not know who he was, only that he looked like someone who could choose to care or choose to walk away. Derek's radio crackled. "Clear the area. We have boarding starting." The situation threatened to become physical. Not violence, but removal. The humiliation of being escorted. "I'm not moving," Naomi said. Her voice was quiet but firm. "Not until this is resolved properly." Derek reached for her arm. Naomi stepped back. "Don't touch me," she said. The crowd gasped. Phones moved closer. Ruth stepped between them. Her body was small. Her presence was not. "Are you all right, dear?" Ruth asked Naomi. Naomi answered honestly. "No, but I'm still here." The honesty steadied Ruth. Ruth's presence steadied the space, age itself insisting on decency. Ethan's jaw tightened. He watched the human cost unfold in real time. Lila looked at the data on her screen again. The pattern was undeniable. She had been complicit in something she did not want to name. "Derek," Lila said, "we need to stop." "Stop what?" Derek asked. "This," Lila said. Her voice shook. "Whatever this is." Vanessa moved closer to Naomi. Her smile was venomous. "You're not going to win," Vanessa said. Her voice was low. "People like you never do." Naomi felt anger surge, hot and righteous. She treated it the way she treated turbulence. She acknowledged it. She corrected for it. She kept steady. "People like me," Naomi said, "are pilots, are professionals, are human." "You're a liar," Vanessa said. Ethan stepped forward then, not revealing himself yet, just asking a simple question. "What policy are you enforcing, exactly?" Ethan asked Derek. His voice was calm, but it carried authority the way some voices do. Derek turned. He saw a stranger in expensive clothes asking uncomfortable questions. "Security policy," Derek said. "Which one?" Ethan asked. Derek did not have an answer. The crowd sensed power, and power made people behave differently. Naomi watched the exchange carefully. She had learned not to trust Hope too quickly. Hope had disappointed her before. "I'm enforcing standard verification procedures," Derek said. His voice was defensive now. "Standard?" Ethan asked. He gestured to Lila's tablet. "Based on what I'm hearing, your procedures aren't very standard at all." Lila's breath caught. Someone with authority was asking the questions she had been too afraid to ask. Vanessa sensed the shift. She pivoted quickly. "Who are you?" Vanessa asked Ethan. "Someone who wants to understand what's happening," Ethan said. He did not give his name yet. He wanted to see how people behaved when they thought no one important was watching. Naomi requested the name of the person making the accusation. Vanessa gave it proudly. "Vanessa Harrow," she said, "and I'm a platinum member of this airline." She said it as if her identity were a shield, as if money could buy righteousness. Lila asked Vanessa to lower her voice. Passengers were staring. Boarding was delayed. Vanessa's smile was thin and cruel. "I pay your salary. You work for me." Lila flinched. Naomi watched her absorb the blow. This was a different kind of discrimination, economic and social, layered over the racial one. "You pay for a ticket," Lila said quietly. "Not for the right to harass people." Vanessa's expression hardened. "I'm protecting passengers." "You're targeting me," Naomi said. Her voice was steady. "There's a difference." Derek tried to move Naomi toward the corridor, away from the crowd. Naomi planted her feet. "I will not be treated as a suspect for existing." The words were quiet, but they landed with the force of a door closing. Ethan watched Naomi refuse to surrender her dignity. He saw Derek scramble to justify the unjustifiable. He took a step forward. "What policy are you enforcing exactly?" Ethan asked again. Derek's face reddened. "I already explained." "No," Ethan said. His voice was calm but sharp. "You gave vague language about safety. I'm asking for the written guideline." Derek did not have an answer. And in that silence, everything began to change. Ethan's question shifted the atmosphere. The crowd sensed authority, real authority. People straightened. Phones lowered slightly. Drama was interesting, but power made them cautious. Derek offered vague language about impersonation risks and passenger safety. Ethan pressed with calm precision. "What's the written guideline?" Ethan asked. "It's in the security manual," Derek said. "Which section?" Ethan asked. Derek fumbled. "I'd have to look it up." "Then look it up," Ethan said. Naomi watched the exchange. Something in her chest loosened slightly. Hope she did not fully trust. Lila found courage in the way Ethan spoke. She opened a deeper log. Her fingers moved quickly before fear could stop her. The screen filled with more data. Naomi's name appeared twice in the last month. Both times flagged for additional verification. No clear reason given. Lila's voice was quiet. "She's been stopped before." Naomi felt the repetition press into her, a finger on an old bruise. "Twice in 1 month?" Ruth asked. "That's not random," Derek tried to explain. "Sometimes the system flags badges for recalibration." "Why wasn't she notified?" Ethan asked. Derek had no answer. Naomi felt something shift in her expression. The pain was becoming evidence. "I want a copy of those records," Naomi said. Her voice was firm. Derek started to refuse. Lila interrupted him. "I'll send it," Lila said. Her fingers moved. The data transferred to Naomi's email. The act was small. The meaning was enormous. Lila was choosing truth over fear. Vanessa stepped closer. Her heels clicked against the tile. She spoke close to Naomi's ear. "You're not going to get away with this," Vanessa said. Her voice was a hiss. Naomi turned to face her directly. Their eyes met. "Get away with what?" Naomi asked. "Doing my job?" Vanessa's smile was cold. "Playing the victim." Something shifted in Naomi's expression. The anger she had been controlling found a focus. "I'm not playing anything," Naomi said. "I'm standing here, while you attack me for existing." The crowd murmured. Some phones swung toward Vanessa now. The villain was becoming visible. Vanessa heard the shift in the crowd. She adjusted, quickly. Her tone softened. "I'm just being cautious," Vanessa said. Her voice was reasonable now. "For everyone's safety." She looked at the watching passengers. "Wouldn't you want someone to speak up if something seemed wrong?" A few people nodded. Vanessa smiled. "This isn't about race," Vanessa said. "She's making it racial. The classic reversal. Turn harm into accusation. Make the victim the problem." Naomi felt anger rise, hot and righteous. She treated it the way she had learned. She acknowledged it. She corrected for it. She kept the plane steady. "I haven't made this about anything," Naomi said. Her voice was calm. You questioned my credentials without cause. The data shows a pattern. Those are facts. Vanessa's smile tightened. Facts can be interpreted many ways. Ruth spoke up. Her voice trembled but held clear. Caution doesn't sound like contempt, Ruth said. The words hung in the air. Several passengers looked uncomfortable. Others doubled down, unwilling to surrender their easy superiority. A man called out, "Maybe she's just not cut out for the job." Another voice, "Why does everything have to be about race?" Naomi's chest tightened. She was being forced to explain her humanity to people who had already decided she had none. Ethan finally introduced himself. His voice was quiet, but carried weight. "My name is Ethan Caldwell," he said. "I'm the CEO of this airline." The name traveled through the terminal. People straightened, phones lowered. Vanessa's expression flickered, just for a moment. Then her smile returned. "Perfect," Vanessa said. "Now we'll get real answers." But her voice was less certain now. Lila's eyes widened. Her supervisor was here, the person who could end her career with a word. Naomi's stomach dropped, not from fear of Ethan, but from understanding. This moment could now change the world beyond her. The recording phones multiplied. The story was becoming public in real time. Naomi felt exposed, vulnerable, seen by thousands but understood by few. Ethan looked at her. Their eyes found each other's across the space. She saw something in his face: recognition, discomfort, and perhaps the beginning of accountability. Orchestrated power shift while preserving narrative tension and uncertainty. Ethan validates Naomi publicly. This is a big turning point. Derek's authority falters. Vanessa claims she's being discriminated against. Naomi requests no false apologies. Ethan orders full investigation with footage and logs. Need to show this shift clearly while maintaining tension. This isn't full victory yet. Ethan addressed Naomi by name and rank. "First Officer Carter, I apologize for what's happened here." The validation landed like oxygen. Naomi felt something in her chest ease. "Your record shows 19 years of exemplary service," Ethan said. His voice carried across the terminal. "This treatment is unacceptable." He turned to Derek. "Stop all incident documentation. Immediately." Derek's jaw tightened. "I'm following security protocol." "Which protocol?" Ethan asked. His voice was sharp now. "Name it." Derek could not. His authority faltered under real power. Vanessa protested immediately. "This is discrimination. Against me." Ethan looked at her. His expression was tired. He had heard this tone before. In boardrooms, in back channels. Arrogance usually whispered, but always the same. "You made a public accusation without evidence," Ethan said. "That's not discrimination. That's consequence." Vanessa's face reddened. "I have rights." "So does she," Ethan said. He gestured to Naomi. Lila watched Ethan. She was seeing leadership that looked different from polished avoidance. Leadership that required discomfort. That chose truth over ease. Naomi felt the first real shift, from personal humiliation to institutional accountability, but she also felt caution. Words were easy. Action was harder. "I don't want an apology that pretends this was a misunderstanding," Naomi said. Ethan nodded. The gesture was small but significant. "It wasn't a misunderstanding," Ethan said. "It was wrong." He turned to Lila. "Pull all footage from this gate for the past hour, and all verification logs for the past 6 months." Lila's breath caught. "All of it?" "All of it," Ethan said. His voice was firm. "We're doing a complete review." Derek stepped forward. "That's my contractor company's jurisdiction." "Not anymore," Ethan said. "You're suspended pending investigation." The words fell like stones. Derek's face went pale, then red. "You can't," Derek started. "I can," Ethan said. "And I am." Vanessa moved closer. "This is outrageous. I'm being vilified for trying to help." "You weren't trying to help," Ruth said. Her voice was steady now. "You were trying to humiliate." Several passengers murmured agreement. The tide had turned. Naomi watched it happen. The villain becoming visible. The truth becoming public. But she also knew the hardest part was still coming. The system had already done its damage. Quietly, efficiently, in databases and checkboxes. "All of it," he repeated. "We're making this right." For a brief moment, Naomi felt something close to victory. Ethan's presence had straightened the world. Justice seemed possible, close enough to touch. Then her phone rang. The caller ID showed crew operations. Naomi answered. "First Officer Carter," the voice said. "You've been removed from today's flight roster." Naomi's stomach dropped. "What?" "Pending verification," the voice said. "It's automated, triggered by a security flag." Naomi looked at Derek. He had filed the incident report before Ethan stopped him. The system had already processed it, already acted on it, already damaged her career. "I'm verified," Naomi said. Her voice was tight. "This is a mistake." "You'll need to complete the verification process," the voice said. "HR will contact you." The call ended. Naomi's hands shook, not from doubt, but from understanding how easily a career could be dismantled. One checkbox, one automated decision, no human oversight, no compassion. Ethan saw her face change. "What happened?" "I've been removed from the roster," Naomi said. Her voice was hollow. "Pending verification." "That's—" Ethan stopped. "I'll fix it immediately." "Can you?" Naomi asked. Her voice was sharper now. "The system already acted. The record exists." Ethan pulled out his phone. He made a call. His voice was urgent. But Naomi heard the truth beneath his promise. He did not yet understand how deep the rot went. Lila looked stricken. "I'm so sorry." Naomi did not respond. She felt exhausted, bone-deep tired. She had fought the moment, but the system had already punished her for it. Vanessa smiled, small and satisfied. "See? The system works." Ruth put a hand on Naomi's arm. The touch was gentle. Naomi walked to a quiet corridor, away from the crowd, away from the phones. She stood alone with her breath. Her reflection stared back from a dark window. She saw a pilot. She saw a target. She wondered if integrity was enough, if truth could actually win against systems designed to protect themselves. Ethan was still making calls. His voice grew more urgent, more frustrated. Naomi watched planes take off through the window, other pilots flying her routes. She felt something in her chest tighten. Not defeat, but the weight of fighting a battle that never seemed to end. Naomi sat in a small airline office near the gate. The room smelled of coffee and stress. She waited while Ethan's team made calls. The waiting felt like punishment disguised as process. Lila brought her water. Her hands shook as she set the cup down. "I'm sorry," Lila said. Her voice was small. "I should have spoken up sooner." Naomi accepted the apology without absolving the harm. "You spoke up when it mattered." "Not soon enough," Lila said. The truth hung between them. Sometimes timing was everything. Derek had been moved to a back office, but his voice carried through the walls. He was defensive, insisting Naomi had overreacted. "She made it difficult," Derek said. "I was following procedure." Naomi closed her eyes. She had heard this story before. The victim blamed for the crime. Ethan entered the room. His tie was loosened. His face was tight. "Crew operations is resisting the override," he said. "They're citing policy." "What policy?" Naomi asked. Any security flag requires 48 hours of review, Ethan said, before reinstatement. Naomi felt tired. So I'm grounded. Temporarily, Ethan said. He sat across from her. I'm working on it. Naomi looked at him directly. This isn't just about today. I know, Ethan said. Do you? Naomi asked. Her voice was quiet but firm. This has happened before. Small moments, different faces, same pattern. Ethan listened. Really listened, without turning it into a defense or a dismissal. Naomi described other moments. Subtle. Cumulative. The clerk who always checked her ID twice. The passenger who asked if she was really a pilot. The training instructor who questioned her simulator scores. Each moment was small. Together they built a wall. Ruth appeared at the door. She had refused to leave. Her presence felt like a witness standing guard. Are you all right, dear? Ruth asked. No, Naomi said, but I'm still fighting. Ethan's phone buzzed. A message from legal. He read it, and his expression changed. What? Naomi asked. Legal says to be careful, Ethan said. His voice was strained. This could become a lawsuit. Naomi saw it then, the old instinct rising in him. Protect the company first. Her chest tightened with disappointment. Ethan's legal counsel urged a quiet settlement. The email was polite but clear. Reinstate First Officer Carter. Issue a vague statement about procedural review. Move on before social media makes it worse. Ethan read it aloud. His voice was flat. Naomi felt the familiar pressure. Accept crumbs as peace. Be grateful for basic dignity. They want me to disappear quietly, Naomi said. They want to minimize damage, Ethan said. To the company, Naomi said. Not to me. Ethan was silent. The truth sat between them. Naomi felt exhaustion pull at her. She had fought for hours, for years, for decades. She almost accepted. Almost let it end quietly. Then she saw a young black girl across the terminal. The girl stared at Naomi's uniform. Her eyes were wide. Hope and worry tangled together on her face. Naomi realized the cost of silence would not be paid by her alone. I don't want money, Naomi said. Her voice was firm now. I want public truth. Ethan looked up. Public? A real statement, Naomi said, naming what happened, not hiding behind miscommunication or procedural review. That's... Ethan hesitated. That's complicated. No, Naomi said. It's uncomfortable. There's a difference. Ethan felt torn, between reputation and righteousness, between the easy path and the right one. I need structural change, Naomi said. Not just for me, for everyone who comes after. That takes time, Ethan said. You have time, Naomi said. I've already paid in years. Lila stood in the doorway. She had been listening. She's right, Lila said. Her voice was stronger now. This has been happening. We've all seen it. We just looked away. Ethan's phone buzzed again. Legal, reminding him of liability, of reputation, of risk. He looked at Naomi, then at Lila, then at Ruth standing like a moral anchor. If you choose comfort over truth, Naomi said. Her voice was quiet but clear. You're choosing her side. She meant Vanessa, but she also meant every system that hid injustice behind policy. Ethan's jaw tightened. His breath caught. The hardest decisions came down to this: protecting what was, or building what should be. He put his phone down. Tell me what you need, Ethan said. Naomi felt something shift. Not victory, just the possibility of it. Lila brought Ethan the deeper logs, the ones she had saved. Her hands shook as she opened the file. These are all the random checks for the past year, Lila said. The data painted a clear picture. Certain names, certain faces, too consistent to be chance. I was trained to keep the terminal calm, Lila said. Her voice broke. Not to keep it fair. She admitted her complicity, the times she smoothed things over instead of speaking up. I'm sorry, Lila said to Naomi. Naomi nodded. Forgiveness required accountability first. Derek's contractor company called Ethan. They defended their employee. They cited contracts and training protocols. They threatened legal action if Derek was terminated. He followed procedure, the voice said. Your airline's procedure. Ethan felt the trap. The system protected itself, even when it was wrong. Ruth offered to give a formal statement. Her voice was steady now. I saw what happened, Ruth said. I'll say it publicly if needed. You don't have to do that, Naomi said. Yes, I do, Ruth said. I've been quiet too long in my life. Her words carried weight. Lifelong weight. The regret of opportunities missed to speak truth. Naomi watched them all. Lila with her logs, Ruth with her courage, Ethan with his decision half made. She understood then. Justice required a chorus. One voice could be dismissed, but many became undeniable. I want to address this publicly, Ethan said. His voice was firm now. At the gate. Lila's eyes widened. In front of everyone? Yes, Ethan said. Transparency requires witnesses. He turned to Naomi. Will you stand with me? Naomi felt her legs go heavy. Public meant risk. Public meant exposure. Public meant the whole world watching, but private meant nothing changed. Yes, Naomi said. Ethan nodded. He made calls, arranged for a public address at the gate. Naomi's breath caught. Her hands felt cold. Courage was not confidence. Courage was motion despite fear. Ruth squeezed Naomi's hand. You're not alone. Phones were already recording. The moment was becoming permanent, and Naomi had just decided to step into the light. Before the address, Vanessa appeared. She had been watching from a distance, waiting for her moment. She approached Naomi with a smile, sympathetic, poisonous. This will all blow over, Vanessa whispered, but I have friends, in places that matter. Naomi felt the threat, clear and personal. Your friends won't protect you from the truth, Naomi said. Vanessa's smile tightened. Truth is expensive. Are you sure you can afford it? Naomi met her eyes. She felt rage, and beneath it, pity. Pity for a woman whose power was only cruelty. I'm already paying, Naomi said. Every day I put on this uniform. Derek emerged from the office. His face was red. His voice was loud. She provoked this, Derek said to anyone listening. If she had just cooperated from the start. Lila interrupted him. Her voice rose for the first time in public. She didn't provoke anything, Lila said. You targeted her. The terminal grew quiet. People sensed a moral line being drawn. Derek turned on Lila. You're throwing me under the bus to save yourself. No, Lila said. I'm telling the truth because I didn't before. Something shifted in the crowd. They saw Lila's transformation, her movement from complicity to courage. Naomi watched passengers choose sides. Some looked away, uncomfortable. Others moved closer, ready to witness. Ethan stepped to the gate podium. His presence commanded attention. But Naomi felt her darkest thought arrive. Even if Ethan did the right thing now, the damage could follow her forever. One Google search, one video clip, one permanent mark. Are you ready? Ethan asked her. Naomi was not ready. She would never be ready. But she was willing. Yes, she said. They walked toward the podium together. Naomi's heart pounded. Her throat felt tight. Ruth walked beside her. A witness, a friend, a shield made of moral certainty. The crowd gathered. Phones rose. The recording began. This moment would define Naomi's life, one way or another. She took her place beside Ethan. Her shoulders were straight. Her voice was still inside her, waiting. And Naomi prepared to be seen in a way she had never chosen. Ethan began with facts. His voice was clear and firm. An hour ago, First Officer Naomi Carter was publicly accused of impersonating airline crew, Ethan said. She was detained without cause. She was humiliated in front of passengers. He did not soften it. He did not hide behind corporate language. Our records show a pattern, Ethan said. So-called random checks that consistently targeted employees of color. That's not random. That's bias. The crowd was silent. Phones recorded every word. Ethan gestured to Naomi. First Officer Carter has 19 years of exemplary service. She has logged over 12,000 flight hours. Her record is impeccable. He paused. His voice grew firmer. She was treated as suspicious without cause. That's wrong, and I'm stating it plainly. Vanessa tried to interrupt. She moved toward the podium. This is defamation, Vanessa said. Her voice was shrill. I was protecting passengers. Ethan held up a hand. Security, please escort Ms. Harrow away from the podium area. Two officers approached. Not roughly, but firmly. Vanessa's face twisted. You can't do this to me. I can, Ethan said. And I am. For harassment and discriminatory behavior. Vanessa was led away. Her protests faded into the corridor. The crowd watched in stunned silence. Naomi stood beside Ethan. She felt dozens of eyes on her. She chose to look back. Not down. Ruth stepped to the microphone. Her hands trembled. But her voice was strong. I'm Ruth Ellison, she said. I watched what happened today. She took a breath. I watched them doubt her because they couldn't imagine her. The words landed with devastating simplicity. I watched them treat her dignity as negotiable, Ruth said, and I'm ashamed I didn't speak sooner. Several people in the crowd looked down. Guilt written on their faces. Ethan announced consequences. His voice was formal now. Vanessa Harrow is permanently banned from this airline. Derek Shaw is suspended pending full investigation, and we're conducting an immediate review of all security protocols. He turned to Naomi. First Officer Carter will be reinstated immediately, with full back pay for lost hours. Naomi felt something in her chest loosen. Not victory, but vindication. I'm sorry, Ethan said to her, directly, publicly. This should never have happened. The apology was real. Naomi heard it. So did everyone else. Phones kept filming. But the story had changed, respect forming in real time. Ethan's voice grew stronger. He was committing now, fully, publicly. Vanessa Harrow is permanently banned from this airline, Ethan said, for harassment and discriminatory conduct. Vanessa's face twisted, not with remorse, with rage. You can't do this, she shouted from the corridor. I'm a platinum member. Status doesn't purchase the right to degrade another person, Ethan said. Security escorted Vanessa further away. Her protests echoed and faded. The crowd watched, some with satisfaction, others with discomfort at seeing power held accountable. Derek Shaw is suspended immediately, Ethan continued, pending full investigation by an independent third party. He announced an institutional review. We're examining all verification protocols. We'll publish accountability metrics quarterly, and we're establishing an independent reporting channel for discrimination complaints. The words were specific, binding, witnessed by hundreds. Naomi listened. She had asked for structural change. He was delivering it. But she needed one more thing. I want the incident note removed, Naomi said. Her voice carried across the terminal. And written confirmation that no record will follow me. Ethan nodded. You have it, in writing. Today. He turned to his assistant. Prepare the documentation now. Lila stepped to the microphone. Her voice trembled but held. "I'm the gate supervisor," Lila said. "I should have stopped this sooner. I didn't, and I'm sorry." She looked at Naomi directly. "You deserved better. Everyone does." It was not a perfect apology, but it was honest. Naomi felt something shift in her chest. Not forgiveness yet, but the possibility of it. Ruth spoke one more time. "This shouldn't have required a CEO to make right, but I'm grateful someone finally did." The crowd murmured. Agreement rippled through them. Scattered applause began. Hesitant at first, then stronger. It grew into something steadier. Sustained. People were clapping for truth, for accountability, for dignity defended. Naomi felt tears threaten. She blinked them back. Not from sadness, from relief that felt like grief. The weight she had carried for so long was finally being seen. Ethan shook her hand. The gesture was formal but sincere. "Thank you," he said, "for not letting us hide." Naomi nodded. Her throat was tight. A young girl pushed through the crowd. She stared at Naomi's wings. "Are you really a pilot?" the girl asked. "Yes," Naomi said. Her voice was firm. "I really am." The girl smiled, wide and certain. Naomi walked the jet bridge with her crew an hour later. Her flight had been restored, her roster reinstated. For the first time that day, her breath felt like it belonged to her. A young flight attendant walked beside her. Her name tag said Maria. "I almost believed her," Maria admitted. Her voice was quiet. "When that woman said you were fake." Naomi felt tired, but she answered gently. "We're trained to fly through turbulence," Naomi said. "Today was just another kind." Maria nodded. "Thank you for staying calm." "I wasn't calm," Naomi said. "I was controlled. There's a difference." The honesty mattered. Naomi did not want to seem superhuman. She wanted to seem real. At the cockpit door, the captain greeted her. He had heard what happened. His eyes were apologetic. "You okay?" he asked. "Getting there," Naomi said. They reviewed the flight plan together. Weather was clearing. The route was straightforward. Familiar work, familiar rhythms, the comfort of competence. Before boarding ended, Ethan visited the cockpit door. He carried a folder. "The documentation," he said. "Incident note removed, statement of wrongful detention, and confirmation of no shadow records." Naomi took the folder. The papers felt heavy with meaning. "What does change actually look like from the inside?" Ethan asked. His voice was genuine. "From where you sit?" Naomi appreciated the question. Policies matter, but culture is built in moments. "Moments?" Ethan asked. "Who is trusted?" Naomi said. "Who is questioned? Who is protected when it gets uncomfortable?" Ethan listened. Really listened. "I have a lot to learn," he said. "So do we all," Naomi said. Ruth appeared at the gate. She was boarding the flight. She had waited to see Naomi one more time. Ruth passed Naomi a folded note, written on a boarding pass. "You made a space for all of us," the note said. Naomi felt her eyes burn. She folded the note carefully. She would keep it. Ruth squeezed her hand. "Fly safe, dear." "Always," Naomi said. The door closed. The cabin settled. Naomi took her seat in the cockpit. Her hands were steady on the checklist. Her voice was clear on the radio. The captain looked at her. "Ready?" "Ready," Naomi said, and Naomi preparing to do what she had always done best. Fly. Weeks later, the airline held mandatory training. The room was full. Attendance was required. Naomi stood at the front with an independent equity consultant, not as a victim, as a leader. "We're here to talk about bias," the consultant said. "Not as theory, as practice." Naomi described what happened, without emotion, just facts. The room was silent, uncomfortable. Good. Lila sat in the front row. She took notes carefully. Someone thirsty for a better way to live. After the training, she approached Naomi. "Thank you," Lila said, "for teaching me to be braver." "You found it yourself," Naomi said. "I just gave you a reason." Derek's case was addressed through formal review. The investigation found policy violations and discriminatory conduct. He was required to complete bias training before being reassigned. Not scapegoated, but held accountable. Ethan implemented transparent reporting, quarterly metrics on security stops, demographic data published internally. He established a whistleblower channel, tied to measurable outcomes, protected from retaliation. In a private meeting, Ethan admitted something to Naomi. "Leadership was easier when I could hide behind neutrality," he said. "Neutrality is a myth," Naomi said. "Silence always serves power." Ethan nodded. He was learning. 6 weeks after the incident, Naomi received her promotion. Captain Instructor, the title she had worked toward for years. The ceremony was small. No spectacle. Just colleagues and quiet respect. Her name was spoken without surprise. Her qualifications read without question. Naomi stood at the terminal window again. Watching planes rise, people hurry. The morning light caught her new stripes. 4 bars instead of 3. She thought about the young girl who had asked if she was really a pilot. She thought about Ruth's note, about Lila's transformation, about Ethan's discomfort becoming accountability. Naomi recognized a hard truth made gentle by grace. Dignity was contagious when someone insisted on it in public. Change was slow, but it was possible. She picked up her flight bag. New crew members waited to learn from her. The terminal moved around her, always in motion, always becoming. Naomi walked toward her gate. Not triumphant, not bitter, just grounded in moral peace. She had flown through the storm, and she had kept the plane steady. That was enough. End.